Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to meet an international expert on cybersecurity, and he's going to educate us all on how to stay one step ahead of the hackers. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
It's frustrating, isn't it? We all watch the news, and it seems like every single day there's another hack attack. And we all say the same thing to ourselves. Can we not stay one step ahead of the hackers? We're all still kind of suffering from what happened a couple of weeks ago with that much-publicized hack attack. I think Delta Airlines is going to pay the price for that for many months to come. To talk about all of this is Shawn Tuma. He's a good friend, and he's a cybersecurity expert. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I'm asking the naive question. We're spending billions and billions of dollars, and yet the hackers seem to be able to get into every single, system or protocol, even the FBI. How are they able to do it?
Well, there are numerous reasons, but one is they have time on their hands. So there's no limit to how much time they can spend devoted to a target. And a second is the odds of security. There's no such thing as security in our world anymore. There's better security or more security, but the odds are against us because the people defending the networks have to be right 100% of their time.
Yes.
The bad guys only need one lucky shot.
Sure.
And because of that, there's just no way to constantly stay ahead of that. So what that means is they're constantly changing their tactics. It's like warfare. It's not a technological problem that can be fixed. And so what that means is we have to engage in that battle with an ongoing defensive tactic and process. It's not a one-time fix.
Sure. And you're a very successful attorney, so tell us about your practice and how cybersecurity works in with what you do.
Sure. So my practice is devoted 100% to cybersecurity, privacy, cyber risk, artificial intelligence, and emerging technologies. And so what that means is I spend my day doing kind of 3 different buckets of things. One is proactive risk management. That's helping companies avoid getting into the bad position of getting a cyber attack against them and preparing for what to do if they have that happen. The second is serving in what I call critical incident response. It's what's called a breach quarterback. And that's where I guide companies through that incident response, investigation, recovery process. And that requires all the legal stuff like sending out notifications in the mail, notifying the attorney generals, all that kind of stuff, right? And so that then leads to the third bucket, which is dealing with the regulatory investigations, the lawsuits that inevitably get filed, and all the frustrated business partners and all those things like you just mentioned.
Sure.
With the Delta Airlines.
I bet it's been a busy few years for you, Shawn.
It has been very busy, yes. We've done very well lately.
Sure. I want to brag about Shawn because for many years we worked together on the public relations side, and I could call you up at the last minute and say, hey, there's an opportunity for you to be on the national news, and you always said yes. I can't even remember a single time where you turned me down. But here's some video of Shawn. I think this is on CBS 11 a few years ago. Talk about educating the public through the media, because that's so important to just raise awareness for how people can protect their own data.
It really is, Jeff, because while we love to talk at cocktail parties and on the news and at conferences about all this sophisticated James Bond type, hoodie guy using sophisticated tactics, the reality is most of what individuals fall victim to, and even large sophisticated companies, are failures of simple basics. And so if we can educate people on the basics and start teaching them how to get the foundations right, then we can worry about all the sophisticated stuff down the road. But my goal many times with that is to just try to help people understand, look, it's great to worry about your TV getting hacked and you being spied on.
Yeah.
But first, let's put a password on your phone. Let's put multi-factor on your accounts. You know, I had someone contact me yesterday. Their business Facebook account got taken over. They said, I built my whole world around this Facebook business page, and now I have nothing. I can't do anything. Well, you didn't even bother putting two-step authentication on your account.
Sure.
How important was it?
And it's gotten so good now. It could be an email from your boss or what appears to be your boss, and the employee clicks on it, and suddenly the whole system's infected.
Yeah. The days of the Nigerian prince sending the email that was clearly fake are over. Now they've gotten much more sophisticated with the power of artificial intelligence. They're sending perfect clone emails to where you have to really be vigilant to spot the problems. And you also need the proper tools and trainings in place to catch those things and to know what to do when it happens. And so that's all part of that education.
So give us a kind of a 101. So like, I know one of the common scams is you get a note from Wells Fargo, even if you don't bank with Wells Fargo, saying, hey, you need to fill in this information. Is there a way you can look at the sender and tell that it's not Wells Fargo?
So a lot of times you can. A lot of times you can click on the link, or not the link, the email address. And even though it says Wells Fargo on there, you can then look at the actual address that is being sent from and see that it's, Shawn at AOL.com or whatever, right?
Right.
And so that's one thing you can do. But, the more important thing that people forget is you got to use your common sense. Because like you said, even if you're not banking at Wells Fargo, you get the email address or the email. If you're not banking at Wells Fargo, you should know when that email comes, delete it.
Yeah.
If you're I remember a show I did here one time, several years back, when people were getting emails from threat actors saying, we caught you watching porn. It was on one of the local news stations. And if you don't pay us money, we're going to reveal the video to all your family and friends. And I had a neighbor reach out and ask me, hey, is there any truth to this? And I said, well, the first question is, where are you sitting at your computer watching porn? I mean, that's where we got to start, right? And of course, I didn't get an answer either. But we've got to.
You said Reverend, really.
we got to keep our brains engaged, and that's really the first step.
All right. You're also a very popular speaker. Let's show some video from one of your speeches. Who typically is in your audience when you speak?
So generally, my audience is chief information security officers of companies. They're the head coach of a company charged with protecting their networks and on the front lines of this battle. And so those are my people. That's who I spend most of my time with.
And maybe drill down a little deeper. So chief information security officer has become a big thing these days, hasn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
And what does that mean?
So there are many different roles of a chief information security officer, and it'll depend on the size and complexity and needs of the company with what particular skill set they have. But they should be technical in background, so they should understand the technical aspects of computer networks and cybersecurity and all of that. But they also are in that position where they have to communicate with the C-suite and the board.
Yes.
And so they have to have good business acumen. They have to be knowledgeable of the business risks and needs. And they really need to have it all to be a good CISO or a great CISO,
Sure.
And so they're kind of at that juncture point between the technical team and the business team in managing cyber risk.
Sure. We've got some video from our library. Let's go ahead and roll that now. And I want to talk about like international threats. So I'm imagining all of our enemies around the world, they've got giant teams that are working to penetrate, our systems. As you said earlier, they only have to be right once. So I mean, are we prepared for this? Is our water system secure? Is our electric system secure? I mean, you can imagine if they took out the Texas power grid, the panic that it would cause.
Yeah, no, those are great questions, because the reality is we're spending a lot of time and a lot of effort, and our hacking teams from a national level and our defensive teams from a national level are the very best of the best, and they're doing the best they can, but there are still vulnerabilities. And so we hope and pray that the bad guys never get in. We know they're being very vigilant, but so much of our resources, and especially with our law enforcement and our national security apparatus, are being spent protecting the company in those areas of critical infrastructure that our businesses are kind of left out there on their own. There's a saying I've been using lately, and that is, nobody's coming to save you. You have to self-rescue. You have to protect yourself as a company. And so we're seeing our chief information security officers be charged with protecting against this with their limited teams and limited budgets. And what they really need is they need outside help. And a lot of times what our role is from a risk management standpoint is I'm a lawyer. I've been doing technology, cyber law for 25 years. I'm not a technical guy, but I know how to bring in the right technical people that we work with that are those best of the best level to help them defend and protect their networks and just be part of the team. And that's the ultimate message. It's a team effort, and we've got to all be together and collaborate in this.
Outstanding. Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
Yeah, just that cybersecurity is not going away. The cyber risk environment is not going away. It's not a problem that can be fixed. It's not Y2K, where there's a technical solution that will ever come. This is warfare. It's an active adversary who, every time you do something to defend and protect your network, they come in and do something to counter that. And so we have to engage in that battle and just understand it's now part of the world we live in, and be ready to go to war.
Thank you, Shawn. You've been an amazing guest. We're going to end with his website, which is SpencerFane.com, the great Shawn Tuma. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's my pleasure.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.